I'm sure you all have better things to do, so we'll get going with the extracurricular code meeting. For those of you that don't know, my name is Zach Tomey. I'm the athletic director here at Ithaca Schools. Enough of you, thanks guys, enough of you have the forms over there. If you didn't get them, you can print them off. I know some people, parents and stuff are emailing or whatever, depending on when. If you're not in a fall sport, you don't have to have stuff in the summer. If you're not until later. If you're not sure if you're going to go out for something, or you know somebody else who isn't sure if they're going to go out for a sport, it's okay. Just have to get the stuff done beforehand. There were 4 different sheets, but you would need 3. The first one, which we're going to go through today, is the code sheet with the thing to sign on the back. The second one, depending on where you're at, you do the physical or alternate year cards. Again, depending on where you're at in that cycle, you get that filled out. And then the third one, it's smaller print, is front back. It's a WIA concussion agreement or information, and there's also cardiac arrest. Those are the 3 forms that you need in order to practice. You need a physical alternate year card. In order to play in the actual your first game or event, you need those all turned in. If you're here and you're not going to be out for a sanctioned sport, then the physical alternate year card you would need would just be the code. Alright, so we're going. First, the philosophy statement. Ithaca School District and community view extracurricular program is an important and integral part of the educational program. The students participating in extracurricular activities are involved in experiences that enrich lives and education. These experiences will build skills and evoke emotions that will be remembered for the rest of their lives. This extracurricular code is in effect for all students involved in our programs, including such peripheral positions as managers, cheerleaders, statisticians, set builders, etc. Students who participate in the school's extracurricular programs are expected to conduct themselves in a positive manner that will bring credit to themselves, their school, and community. The intent of this extracurricular policy is to provide you, your parents, and guardians with a reference with responsibilities and the district's expectations for your participation in extracurricular program. Participants must display high standards of social behavior, display good sportsmanship, display proper respect for coaches, advisors, and teammates, display strong desire to do one's best. Educational opportunities and non-discrimination. It's the policy of the school district that no person may be denied admission to or any public school in the district or be denied participation in, be denied the benefits of, or be discriminated against in any curricular, extracurricular, public service, recreational, or any other program or activity because of the person's sex, color, race, religion, national origin, ancestry, creed, pregnancy, marital or parental status, sexual and gender orientation, or physical, mental, or emotional, or learning disability as required by Section 118.13 of the state statutes. This policy also prohibits discrimination as defined by Title IX of the Education Amendments of 1972, Title VI of the Civil Rights Act of 1964, Section 504 Rehabilitation Act, and Title II of the Americans with Disabilities Act of 1990. Policy 653 relates to reports and complaints concerning non-discrimination against students with reports and complaints concerning non-discrimination against students to be processed under the policy and Policy 654.2. Policy 209 relates to reports and complaints concerning sexual harassment against students, except Title IX sexual harassment and such reports. Complaints will be processed under these policies. Policy 654 relates to reports and formal complaints concerning Title IX sexual harassment against students, and such reports and formal complaints will be processed under these policies, including under the grievance process for formal complaints of the Title IX sexual harassment. The district shall provide appropriate educational services or programs for students who have been identified as having a handicap or disability, regardless of the nature or severity of the handicap or disability. The school district should also provide a reasonable accommodation of the students' sincerely held religious beliefs with regard to examinations and other academic requirements. The district encourages informal resolution of complaints under this policy, as noted above. A grievance procedure is available, however, to address allegations of policy violations in the district. Any questions concerning this policy, Title IX, Section 504, Title II, 118? You can see who that's directed to, either Mr. Herbst, Ms. Handel. The next section are expectations for all student participants. First, you need to sign this and follow this extracurricular code. Follow all the directives of your coach or advisor. Treat opposing coaches, participants, and fans with respect. Shake hands following the games after each contest. Respect the judgment of the contest officials. Abide by the rules of the contest and display no behavior that could incite fans. Cooperate with officials officials, coaches, and fellow participants. Accept the responsibility and privilege of representing your school community and yourself to display positive public action at all times. Live up to the high standards of sportsmanship and proper conduct established by your coach or advisor. If placed on detention, the student is required to fulfill the detention obligation before the activity obligation. After serving the detention, the student may report to his or her scheduled activity. If the student is serving the school suspension, he or she will not be allowed to attend the scheduled activity, whether it's a practice, competition, or performance. Each coach or advisor can enforce his or her own team rules once the participant returns. Academics are a priority. If a student athlete is unable to participate in daily academic or physical education, then the athlete is unable to participate in an extracurricular. Continuing with the policy, the student will also be governed by the Ithaca Middle/High School Student Parent Handbook rules and regulations, any WIA rules and regulations, and civil and criminal laws, the community, country, or county, and state. Reporting any infractions. Violations of the extracurricular codes will be reported to the principal or athletic director. Reported violations of the code will be signed, a written statement or photos or videos, which will be published or posted. Violations process and appeals procedures. The principal or athletic director will interview the accused student upon receiving the written violation report and explain his or her due process. Within 5 school days, the investigation will be completed and determination will be made as to whether the violation did occur. Summer vacation violations will be acted on within the first 5 school days after summer vacation. If the student admits to the violation, he or she shall submit the code violation consequences as written in the code. If the student denies the alleged violation and the report, he or she will present a written denial and an appeal to the investigator. All supported denial will be in writing with signatures. No unsigned letters or statements will be accepted. The meeting will be held in the administrative offices of the principal, and the other proceedings will be tape recorded. The principal will determine if the conduct occurred, and if so, whether the consequences imposed are consistent with the extracurricular code. Parents or guardians may accompany the student to the principal's meeting. The student coach may also be present. If the parents are not satisfied with the principal's determination and your request that the school board review the principal's determination, the request must be made to the principal or district administrator. The school board will review the tape recording and all documentation at the next regularly scheduled board meeting and provide notice adheres to the state open meeting laws for posting. The school board shall only make the determination whether or not sufficient reason exists for the principal's determination. Neither the principal nor the student or parent will be present, nor will they participate in the school board's review process. The accused student will be suspended from competition, no practice during the appeals process. Statement of participation. As determined by the WIA, participation in extracurricular activities is a privilege, not a right. The coach or advisor shall determine what students will play, who will start, and how long a student will play in any given contest. Athletes who participate in interscholastic high school athletics are not guaranteed any more playing time. Equipment practice. Participants will not be allowed to practice or draw equipment until their extracurricular guidelines and participant acknowledgements of WIA physical examination cards for athletes. The medical consent cards have been signed and returned to the athletic director, coach, or advisor. Medical consent cards will be kept on file, and a copy will be given to coaches and advisors. Participants in non-athletic events must also sign extracurricular guidelines, participant acknowledgements of delinquent accounts. Students that have delinquent accounts or fees or equipment to other extracurricular activities shall not be allowed to participate in events or graduation ceremonies until those accounts are settled. Coaches and advisors shall notify the athletic director of any delinquent accounts, and the athletic director will notify the student or guardian. Once accounts are settled, the coach and advisor will notify the athletic director that the accounts have been satisfied. Communication. Parents and students will communicate with the coach or advisor. If their issue has not been resolved, then the participants will communicate with the athletic director. Ithaca School's concussion procedure. In the event that your son or daughter has been treated for concussion symptoms or concussion event diagnosed by a doctor, the following steps will be necessary for them to return to participating in an athletic competition. First, they need to be cleared to play by the medical professional that has been certified to treat pediatric concussions and concussion symptoms. This is typically done through a letter to the school clearing the student to play. The letter clearing the student to play will be addressed to the athletic director, and that will be forwarded on to the necessary coaching staff. The AD will follow up with the medical professional to ensure that they have proper qualifications to be cleared in the athlete competition. In the event that the AD is unable to complete the duty, the school principal will follow up with a medical professional. Copies of the return to competition letter will be placed in the student's cumulative school file for record keeping. It is our hope to keep our students safe and healthy throughout the school year by following these simple steps. We believe that can better serve the students in the Ithaca community. Cross-reference the WI recommendations for concussion there. No athlete shall return to play on the same day of a concussion. Any athlete suspected of having a concussion shall be evaluated by an appropriate healthcare professional that day. Any athlete with a concussion shall be medically cleared by an appropriate healthcare professional prior to resuming participation in any practice or competition. After medical clearance, return to play shall follow the stepwise protocol with provisions for delayed return to play based on signs and symptoms. The physicals, athletes are required to have a physical examination every 2 years. Ithaca area school recommends that students have physical examinations during the summer through 6th, 8th, 10th, 12th years of school. Physical cards, alternate year cards, and athletic guideline agreement and notification of risk of injury can be picked up and returned to the athletic director or your coach to be fine too. Transportation. Participants must go to away events at school provided transportation. Expectations may only be granted by the principal based on a written request submitted 24 hours prior to the event. Participants must return to school in the same vehicle they travel for the contest or scrimmage unless excused ahead of time by the coach after personally receiving a signed note by the parent. The parent requests that a participant returns from the contest with another parent, a signed note, and that parent must be approved by the principal and coach 24 hours in advance of the day of the contest. If a parent would like to transport the participant home after a contest, the principal and the coach must receive a signed letter requesting in advance. To do so, not following transportation guidelines could result in the denial of future requests. Violation of extracurricular code activity guidelines. For the purpose of establishing standards to apply to many extracurricular activities offered at Ithaca area schools, 2 categories of participation are defined. Any penalty imposed must be served in all the categories of participation that a student is involved in during the suspension period. The following guidelines apply 12 months of the year. Any suspension is not fulfilled during the current season will be completed during the next season. So there's category 1 athletic, category 2 is non-athletic. Those are just some of what we offer. Obviously, there could be some that we add, some that we subtract throughout the course of the year, years. Category 1 penalties. For violation of extracurricular guideline agreement, this area includes all interscholastic athletic activities and other activities directly related to athletics where involvement normally occurs outside the regular school day and may also apply to summer vacation. These violations will carry over starting from 6th grade through 12th grade level. Students transitioning from middle school to high school will have a clear record. Category 2 penalties for violation of extracurricular guideline agreement. This area includes all school clubs and activities non-athletic. Students transitioning from middle school to high school will start 9th grade with a clear record. Attendance categories 1 and 2. Participants must be in attendance by 11 a.m. on the day before, day of, or day after a practice or extracurricular activity. Any absence during this time must be excused per school attendance policy in order to participate. Participant is absent the day before, day of, or day following a contest or performance. The students may not participate in the next contest or performance unless excused per attendance policy. Excused absences are granted for things like personal illness, family emergencies, personal appointments, professional funerals, death of family, religious holidays, court appearances, family trips, special events of educational value, approved school activities, and special circumstances for good cause approved by the attendance officer. Rules of conduct, category 1, 2, athletic, non-athletic. At all times, participants shall refrain from conduct that violates the ideals, principles, and standards of the area schools. Participants that violate these expectations may lose eligibility. Ethical and behavioral issues, including but are not limited to negative and or illegal acts against persons, property, involvements, and acts which are viewed as contrary to accepted moral and legal standards, including severe profanity, harassment, abusive language, vandalism, fighting, cheating on tests, or schoolwork, theft, or any other acts that are unbecoming of an athlete or participant. Penalties. A student who repeatedly or willfully demonstrates behavior which shows disregard of school rules and regulations, such as insubordination to school personnel, shall be ineligible for a minimum of 1 contest. Any student who receives a discipline referral from a teacher or administrator may be suspended for one or more contests as determined by the principal, athletic director, coach, or advisor. A student involved in an act such as harassment, vandalism, fighting, cheating, theft, or any other acts may be suspended from participation. Any student whose behavior warrants a school suspension will be co-suspended the day of the school suspension. The number of suspended events, contests, or performances will correspond with the number of days of the school suspension. Alcohol and other drugs / attendance at unacceptable gatherings, categories 1 and 2. Participants using under the influence of alcohol or other drugs are charged with attendance at an unacceptable gathering which is not chaperoned by a parent where alcohol, tobacco, vaping, or other controlled substances are present and being consumed shall be held accountable as follows. The first violation, the student shall be suspended from playing in a game or contest for a minimum period of 33% of the season if the student in question uses, possesses, buys, or sells any drugs, alcohol, tobacco products of any type. Should the participant or participants turn themselves into the principal or athletic director, the initial violation will be reduced to 25% of the season. Self-reporting by the student will result in a reduction of suspension for the first violation only. Second violation, the participant shall be suspended from playing in a game or contest for a minimum of 100% of the season if the student in question uses, possesses, buys, or sells any drugs, alcohol, or tobacco products of any type. Third violation, it's a calendar year suspension, 12 months from the date of the penalty, and forfeiture of all awards and honors for activities involved in that time of the violation. Referral to an approved non-school assessment program is mandatory, and completion of the program is required for further participation. And fourth violation, loss of eligibility in all extracurricular participation for the remainder of the student's high school enrollment, and forfeiture of all awards and honors for activities involved at the time of the violation. If still under suspension at the start of the state playoffs, students will be ineligible to participate. The season will be considered to be the regular season scheduled contest. Percentage of the suspension based on games will carry over to the season of the next sport played. The coach for athletic extracurricular activities shall verify that the signed copy of participation agreement is on file, and if not, the student shall not participate until a signed copy has been submitted. Next is alcohol and other drugs at unacceptable gatherings for category 2. These are all the non-athletic extracurriculars that we offer. Participants using alcohol and other drugs under the influence of or charged with attendance at an unacceptable gathering which is not chaperoned by parent or parents, where alcohol, tobacco, vaping, or other controlled substances are present, being assumed shall be held accountable as follows. The first violation, the student shall be suspended from participation in the next 2 category 2 scheduled events, contests, or performances. Should the participant turn themselves in to the principal, dean, or athletic director, the initial violation will reduce to 1 contest or performance. Self-reporting by this is only good for the first violation only. Second violation, the student shall be suspended from participating in the next 3 category 2 events, contests, or performances. Third violation is a calendar year suspension and forfeiture of all awards and honors at the time of the violation. Assessment program will be mandatory, and completion of said program is required to be eligible for further participation. Fourth violation is a loss of eligibility in all extracurricular programs or activities for the remainder of the student's high school enrollment, forfeiture of all awards and honors for activities involved at the time of the violation. The advisor of the non-athletic extracurricular activities shall verify that a signed copy of participation agreement is on file, and if not, the student shall not participate until a copy is signed. Academics for categories 1 and 2, athletic and non-athletic. To be eligible to participate in extracurricular activity, a student must be enrolled in no less than 7 credits or an approved academic program and earn a minimum grade point average 1.75 with no failing F grades at the end of the 9-week grading period. Ineligibility shall be for a period of 21 calendar days with a minimum of 15 school days and a minimum of 3 games, meets, or dates, whichever is less for fall sports. Ineligible students shall secure a grade request sheet from either the school principal or school counselor. Grade requests shall be made of each of the student's teachers a minimum of 3 days prior to his or her reinstatement and submitted to the principal or counselor no later than 1 day prior to seeking reinstatement in any given sport. Reinstatement will be reviewed at the 4.5-week, 9-week periods. During the period of academic ineligibility, the student must participate in all team practices and attend games, meets, matches, school courses. This will not reduce the status of eligibility. Except as here above covered in the extracurricular member, whether or not a juvenile who has been charged or could be charged with committing a crime or... Really? I guess that means we're done. That means we're done. We'll see if Mr. Hess can edit that out tomorrow when he goes to the video. All right, so the where am I at? Charged with committing a crime, or what could be a crime if the student were not a juvenile. Examples covered include but are not limited to vandalism, breaking and entering, stealing, assault, attempted assault, possession of a weapon or otherwise endangering the safety of others, shall be held accountable as follows. Student extracurricular participants will be immediately suspended from participation, activities, contests, and practice until an appeals process has established the student's innocence. If guilty or determined to be prohibited acts, the student shall be suspended for 1 calendar year from the day of the infraction, regardless of the findings of the civil authorities. The school authority is fined that the student in question has committed prohibited acts as prescribed above. The student shall be suspended for participation for 1 calendar year from the date. And that last page, which I'm sure most of you that are here already filled out, that's the only one we would need back that would go in the, to the binders, just so that you went through this. If you have other kids or you know anybody else who isn't here but then decided they want to get to this, this video will be uploaded at some point. Mr. Hess talked about doing that tomorrow. I have it on YouTube. I think the one from last year is on there too, but they'll still need to get this signed. Like I said, if you have other paperwork, it doesn't need to be in today. Just football players can already enough of you are here, that your physical alternate year card, that you need to practice. But if you are a middle school student or if you are in another fall sport that starts later, then you have until the first day of practice for your physical alternate year cards. Hopefully you get all those in. If there's any questions,